Now, May the 11th sees the release of Attack the Block, the directorial debut of Joe Cornish. It's a sci-fi film about a gang of South London teenagers who have to defend their tower block from alien invasion. The film was only finished yesterday, so we've got the very first look, and after that we'll be talking to Joe. And it's lovely to welcome the brilliant Joe Cornish. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Finished yesterday. Did that mean all night you've been sort of shouting whoop and drinking tequila, or does it not feel like that when you finish?
It's a slow process, finishing a film, so yesterday we were doing the 16:9 version.
Right.
It's very boring, but it means going through and making sure everything fits in the frame if you watch it in the 16:9 aspect ratio.
Lovely.
We should say...
Yeah.
Good.
That's the answer
you must come on more often. Wow. No, let me ask you this. Lots of people are already absolutely buzzing about it. Our very own Charlie Line has seen it and phoned me today and just raved about it. Are you delighted with it, and are you pleased about just people's reactions when they've seen it?
Yeah, very delighted. We showed it to the press for the first time today, and even though there was a sort of Twitter embargo, some people broke the embargo, but luckily for enthusiastic reasons. But I'm very fatalistic. I think if I say, you know, that I'm pleased with it, the sky will fall on my head and it'll all go wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
So
let's say it's rubbish.
Remain mute.
Yeah.
It's rubbish.
Yeah.
Remain mute. I mean, Joe, for a lot of people watching, obviously there'll be a lot of Adam and Joe fans out there. God knows, there's an army of Adam and Joe fans. You will have sort of disappeared from the TV and disappeared from the radio, and people will think, well, what happened to Joe? What happened to Joe? And now you're resurfacing, you know, as a director. I mean, just to sort of rewind a little bit, how did that journey, if I can use that nauseating word, take place?
Well, I've always kind of wanted to make a film. I went to film school when I left school. And it's something I've always wanted to do. We used to take the mickey out of films on our TV show with little stuffed toys, and that was kind of a weird way, I suppose, to analyse and deconstruct films. We used to make all the sets ourselves and sit there poring over and trying to get the details right. And I've been a frustrated filmmaker, I suppose, for a while, and watched friends of mine like Garth Jennings and Edgar Wright and even Jonathan English, who made Ironclad, make films and be successful. So I kind of wanted to throw my hat in the ring.
And you have. Is it OK if we show another clip?
Yes, very much so.
Good. And this is quite terrifying in a good way. Would you mind introducing
Not
it?
at all. So the film's about this gang of teenagers who protect their block from an alien invasion. In the first clip, you saw they were attacked by this little alien, and they kind of beat it to death and put it on a stick. Now its friends have come down. They're a lot bigger, they're a lot scarier. The gang have been chased into the block. They sort of force their way into a neighbour's flat, a character called Sam, played by Jodie Whittaker. And this is what goes down in that flat.
I love it.
So, Joe, you've got a mix there of kind of well-known faces and a lot of new faces, a lot of kids. Where did the kids come from?
Some of them are professional actors, some of them were street cast. I'm amazingly proud of them. It's great to see them in a clip on this show. They worked really hard. They kind of helped us with the script and with the dialogue, getting the language right and stuff. They're just, I think, 5 incredibly talented kids.
We said that you were coming on and Twitter went bananas and we've been bombarded. Like, sometimes they just send in the odd question. We have lots. Would you be offended if I...
Probably, but go for it.
Let's do it. Anyway. All right, a sweet one from Call Me Samuel. I imagine his name's Samuel. Do you fear a couple of young whippersnappers parodying Attack the Block using Star Wars toys? Sweet.
No, I'd love that. That would be an honour.
that would be the
I'd invite people to do that.
That's right, exactly. And somebody else, James Walker guy, says, at what point did the film change from an idea in your head to a proper film that people in suits were discussing? I love that question. You want to do it, and then all of a sudden you're in a room with grown-ups, people are passing around bagels, they're wearing ties.
Yeah, I don't know, sometime between the age of 20 and 40.
Good answer.
I've sort of been writing it since 2001, so, yeah, there's no short answer to that.
I mean, the film, I mean, in the clip, I mean, the film looked a little bit darker, actually, than I think some people will have been expecting. I mean, is that something... Are you prepared for people to be slightly surprised by the dark?
Well, it's a kind of comedy-horror, but for me, comedy and horror only works if the horror is frightening.
Yeah.
You know, then the laughter is a release. I think if you're laughing in a comedy-horror without fear, then maybe it's just a comedy.
Were you surprised today, this is my final question, don't be grumpy, that people were quite scared? Because I've watched a couple of other clips and it does make you jump. Charlie said he jumped.
No, any response that's not walking out and disliking it is good, as far as I'm concerned.
We take it. Brilliant.
Yeah, anything.
Thank you so much for coming in, and masses of luck with it.
Pleasure, Joe.